The spaceport of Xylar Prime shimmered under the twin suns, its metallic towers reflecting beams of golden light that danced across the sky. Elias Kane stood at the edge of the docking platform, his eyes scanning the horizon. He had been here for only a few hours, yet the alien world already felt overwhelming. Xylar Prime was magnificent, a city of towers that seemed to scrape the skies, with energy currents that pulsed like lifeblood through the streets. But Elias did not have time to admire the beauty. His duty was simple but crucial: protect the alien queen, Lysera, and ensure that the diplomatic summit proceeded without incident. He adjusted his comm device. All teams in position. Visual confirmation of the Queen's transport. Ready for escort, Elias reported, his voice steady. The human security team had trained for this moment for months, yet nothing could prepare them for the complexity of Xylar politics. The alien guards, tall, multi-limbed beings with luminous eyes, stood at rigid attention beside the Queen's hover transport. Queen Lysera stepped out, her presence commanding even the humans' attention. Her robes shimmered with a material Elias had never seen, reflecting light in a way that seemed almost alive. Her gaze swept across the assembly, calm and regal, but there was a tension in her shoulders. She was aware, as Elias was, that not all her guards were loyal. "Commander Kane," the Queen said, her voice melodic and firm, "I trust your species will serve with honor." Elias inclined his head. "Your safety is my priority, Your Majesty." Before she could respond, a sharp alarm echoed through the platform. Red lights flashed along the edges of the towers, casting an eerie glow. Elias immediately went on alert. "We have movement at the northern approach," he shouted. From the shadows of the towering structures, a group of rogue Xylar soldiers emerged. They were armed with energy rifles, their eyes glowing with hostility. These were not part of the official security, these were extremists, a faction that had been plotting against the Queen for months. Chaos erupted instantly. The Queen's guards reacted, but the attackers were swift and well-coordinated. Elias shouted orders into his comm device. "Defensive positions. Protect the Queen at all costs." The humans moved quickly, forming a protective line. Elias' team was outnumbered, but they had training and courage on their side. Still, it was clear almost immediately that the alien attackers had a technological edge. Their weapons fired concentrated beams that could pierce the strongest human armor. "Move." "Move," Elias commanded. He stepped forward, placing himself between the Queen and the advancing threat. The energy bolt slammed into the platform nearby, sending sparks and debris into the air. Humans fell back, some injured, but Elias remained steady. Every instinct screamed for survival, but his focus was unshakable. The Queen must live. One of the Queen's personal guards, a massive Xylar with 4 arms, roared a challenge, charging at the attackers. Elias saw the guard go down, overwhelmed by superior numbers. A flash of fear shot through him, but he swallowed it. If he faltered, everything would be lost. "Elias, retreat," a voice shouted from his comm, but he ignored it. Retreat was not an option. The attackers advanced, their rifles glowing brighter with each step. Elias grabbed a discarded energy shield from the fallen human, holding it high as a barrier against the oncoming fire. Sparks rained down as the beams hit the shield, but it held. Queen Lysera stepped closer, instinctively moving behind him, and he gestured for her to stay low. "Stay behind me, Your Majesty," he barked. She did, her expression calm but her eyes sharp. Elias admired her courage. She was not trembling in fear. Instead, she assessed the situation, thinking and calculating even as the world around her erupted into violence. The human team began to regroup, though the alien attackers were relentless. Elias could see some of the Queen's loyal Xylar guards pulling back, trying to create a path for escape. The extremists were clever. They were trying to isolate her, cut off any chance of safety. Elias realized he had to act. Retreat was not enough. He needed a plan, and fast. He scanned the platform and noticed the maintenance tunnels beneath the towers. They could provide cover and a path to safety if they could reach them. "Queen Lysera, follow me," he shouted. Without hesitation, she did. Her trust in a human was remarkable, but Elias did not question it. Every second counted. He sprinted across the platform, shielding her with his own body as energy beams whizzed past them. Sparks flew and the ground shook from the force of the blasts. Humans and alien guards alike shouted, but Elias' voice rose above all. "This way! Move!" They reached the entrance to the maintenance tunnels, but the attackers were closing in. Elias dropped to one knee, using his shield to block the final wave of fire. The queen slid past him into the tunnel, and Elias followed immediately after. Behind them, the sounds of chaos faded slightly, replaced by the echo of footsteps and distant shouts. Inside the tunnel, the air was cooler and heavy with the smell of metal. The dim lights cast long shadows along the walls. Elias paused to catch his breath and check on the queen. "Are you unharmed, Your Majesty?" he asked. "I am fine," she said calmly. "Thanks to you." Elias allowed himself a brief nod. Compliments from royalty were rare, but they did little to calm the adrenaline surging through him. They needed to move. The tunnel system was complex, and he had studied its layout before arrival. There were exits that could lead them to the central palace safely, or at least away from the attackers' immediate reach. As they moved deeper into the labyrinth, the queen's voice broke the tense silence. "You humans, you are unlike any beings I have met. You stand firm even when the odds are against you." Elias glanced at her. "It's what we do. We protect, even when it seems impossible." Her eyes softened slightly, as if she understood the weight behind those words. Elias felt a strange warmth at the acknowledgement. Humans were often underestimated, especially by species with more advanced technology. Yet here, in the heart of enemy territory, his species' courage had already begun to shine. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the tunnel. Elias instinctively shielded the queen as the ceiling vibrated. The attackers had found another entry. A squad of rogue Xylar soldiers descended into the tunnel, weapons ready. "Back to back," Elias shouted, positioning himself so that the queen's back was to his chest. He was outnumbered, but he had a plan. He quickly scanned the area and spotted loose maintenance panels along the wall. "Your Majesty, stay close," he commanded. Using his strength, he pried one panel loose and slammed it onto the approaching attacker's path. Sparks flew as the metal clanged, creating a small barrier. The attackers faltered, giving Elias just enough time to lead the queen through a side passage. Each step was dangerous. Each turn could lead to another ambush. Yet Elias did not waver. His mind was clear, focused entirely on one mission: keep the queen alive. The human's reputation was fragile among alien species. If they failed here, it could set humanity back decades in the eyes of the galaxy. As they moved through the twisting tunnels, Elias thought about why he had joined this mission. It was not for glory or recognition. It was because he believed in something greater: the potential of humans to make a difference, to rise above fear and uncertainty. In that moment, every step he took, every shield he raised, was a testament to human resilience. Finally, they reached a large maintenance bay that connected to the palace grounds. Elias slowed, listening. The sounds of the attackers were distant but still present. He turned to the queen. "This is our chance," he said quietly. "We need to reach the central courtyard. From there, loyal guards can regroup and secure you." Lysera nodded. "I will follow your lead, Elias Kane. I trust you." The words hit him harder than any battle cry. Trust from a being so powerful and wise was rare. Elias straightened, gripping his shield. "Then let's move," he said. They emerged from the tunnel into the open courtyard, and Elias immediately realized the danger was not over. The rogue faction had anticipated their route and had stationed energy turrets along the walls. One false step could be fatal. Elias assessed the layout quickly. Using shadows and the scattered structures of the courtyard, he plotted a path that minimized exposure. Every step was calculated, every movement precise. He led the queen carefully, raising the shield whenever a turret fired. Sparks hissed as energy beams collided with it, but it held firm. At last, they reached a central plaza where loyal Xylar guards were regrouping. The queen's personal guard was alive, though shaken. They moved swiftly to surround her, forming a protective circle. Elias took a final position in front, his shield raised. "You've done well, human," one of the guards said, eyes wide with respect. Elias nodded silently. He did not feel victorious yet. There was still much to do, and the rogue faction was not finished. But for the first time since the attack began, he allowed himself a brief moment to feel the weight of their survival. Humanity had stood firm. Even against overwhelming odds, they had shielded the queen. Queen Lysera stepped forward, her eyes meeting Elias's. "Your courage, your strength, it is unlike anything I have seen. Humanity is truly remarkable." Elias felt a quiet pride, knowing that his species' determination had earned respect, not through power or weapons, but through bravery, loyalty, and quick thinking. The sun set over Xylar Prime, casting long shadows across the plaza. The battle was not over, but the first challenge had been met. Elias Kane had proven that humans could stand firm, even when everyone else fled. And in doing so, he had begun a bond that could change the course of history. As the sounds of distant conflict echoed through the city, Elias turned to the queen. "This is only the beginning," he said. She nodded. "Then let us face it together." And with that, they prepared for the trials that lay ahead. A human standing firm in the heart of an alien world, shielding the queen and showing the galaxy what humanity could truly be. The palace of Xylar Prime was unlike any structure Elias Kane had ever seen. Its towers spiraled into the sky like silver flames, and the walls pulsed faintly with energy, as if the building itself was alive. Every corridor seemed designed to confuse intruders, with twisting hallways, shimmering force fields, and doors that only opened to those who knew the proper codes. Elias led Queen Lysera through one such corridor, his shield raised and senses alert. The rogue Xylar faction was still on the move. They were smart, coordinated, and determined to capture the queen. Each step forward was met with new threats: laser traps hidden in the walls, security drones scanning for movement, and groups of attackers lying in wait. But Elias had trained for impossible scenarios. He adjusted his approach quickly, using every available resource to protect the queen. "Your Majesty," Elias whispered as they ducked behind a corner, "we need to reach the throne chamber. From there, loyal guards can hold the main entrances. We can create a strong defensive position." Lysera nodded. "Lead the way, human. I trust your judgment." The words reminded Elias of why he fought. Trust was rare, especially from beings so advanced, so powerful. And yet here she was, relying on a human to guide her through deadly corridors filled with enemies. He felt a surge of determination. Humans may not be the fastest or strongest, but their courage, adaptability, and quick thinking could make a difference even in the deadliest situations. As they moved, a group of rogue Xylar soldiers appeared ahead. They were armed with energy rifles and seemed to anticipate every move. Elias quickly dropped behind a maintenance console, motioning for the queen to stay close. "Stay low, Your Majesty," he commanded. He grabbed a discarded energy module from the console, quickly rigging it to create a temporary energy barrier. Sparks flared, and the module activated just in time to block a volley of laser fire. The attackers roared in frustration, momentarily stunned by the unexpected defense. Elias used the opening to lead the queen down a side passage, their footsteps echoing in the metal corridors. They reached a junction where three paths diverged. Elias paused, scanning for potential dangers. He knew the attackers would be trying to funnel them into a trap. Using his knowledge of the palace layout, he pointed to the middle path. This way. It's the shortest route to the throne chamber, and we can use the security nodes along the walls for cover. Lysera followed without hesitation, stepping carefully but confidently. Elias admired her composure. Even in the heart of danger, she remained calm and focused, assessing every move, every possible outcome. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the corridor. Elias raised his shield just as a security drone descended from the ceiling, its sensors glowing red. The drone fired a concentrated beam, but Elias moved quickly, redirecting the fire toward the walls. Sparks flew as the energy struck metal and the drone swerved, confused by the interference. "Quick, through the doors!" Elias shouted. He pushed the queen toward the nearest chamber, slamming the door behind them and activating the internal lock. The drone thudded against the barrier, unable to enter. Inside the chamber, the walls were lined with advanced alien control panels. Elias quickly scanned them. "If I can access these nodes, I might be able to slow down the attackers or create temporary barriers in the corridors," Queen Lysera observed silently. "Do what you must. I will remain behind you." Elias worked quickly, his fingers moving over the alien panels. He had learned some basic controls from prior intelligence reports, and his instincts helped him improvise where knowledge lacked. Lights flashed, energy fields activated, and alarms echoed through the palace. Outside, the attackers hesitated as corridors suddenly became blocked, forcing them to take longer routes. "Good work," Lysera said quietly. "Your species, you think quickly under pressure. It is admirable." Elias felt a flicker of pride but did not pause. "We're not out of danger yet. They'll find another path soon. We need a defensive position ready." He spotted an elevated walkway inside the chamber, with a perfect vantage point over the main corridor. Using the queen as cover, he guided her behind reinforced panels while he positioned himself on the walkway, shield in hand, ready to confront anyone who tried to break through. Minutes later, the attackers regrouped. They moved like a wave through the corridors, testing every route, but Elias' improvisation forced them into narrow spaces. Every step they took was predictable, giving him the advantage despite being outnumbered. When the first soldier appeared at the end of the corridor, Elias raised his shield. The alien weapon fired, and the energy beam struck the shield with a loud clang. He countered with a quick push, sending the attacker stumbling back. Another came forward, and Elias leapt into action, using his shield not only as protection but as a weapon to knock opponents aside. The queen watched in silence, her expression calm, yet there was an unmistakable respect in her eyes. Humans were not physically dominant, but their courage and adaptability were extraordinary. A sudden explosion rocked the chamber. A group of attackers had breached a side corridor. Elias immediately moved to intercept, signaling the queen to move to a safer corner. Using his shield, he blocked multiple laser blasts, deflecting them toward the walls. Sparks and debris flew, but he held firm. "Your Majesty, stay behind me," he shouted over the noise. Lysera followed his instructions without hesitation. Her trust strengthened Elias' resolve. He realized that courage was contagious. Her calm in the face of danger allowed him to think clearly, even as chaos surrounded them. The attackers pressed forward, relentless and coordinated. But Elias had learned to use the palace itself as a weapon. He activated energy barriers, dropped heavy panels to block paths, and led the queen along safe routes only he knew. Each move bought them precious time. At one point, they reached a grand atrium, its ceiling high and adorned with glowing alien symbols. The attackers had cut off all visible paths forward, leaving them trapped. Elias quickly surveyed the room. There were structural beams and suspended platforms that could be used as cover. "This way," he shouted, motioning toward a narrow beam that led across the atrium. Using a combination of agility and strength, he helped the queen across first. Her movements were careful but precise, matching his pace. Once she was safely across, Elias followed, holding his shield high to deflect any incoming fire. From their new position, they had a clear view of the attackers. Elias noticed a control panel that could operate the atrium's defense system. "Stay here," he told Lysera. "I'll handle this." Moving quickly, he accessed the panel despite the unfamiliar alien interface. He activated the system, causing a series of mechanical barriers and energy walls to rise from the floor. The attackers, caught off guard, were slowed dramatically. Laser fire ricocheted off the new barriers, giving Elias and the Queen time to move again. "Your species' ingenuity is impressive," Lysera said, stepping closer. "You adapt, improvise, and protect. I am grateful." Elias nodded. "It's what we do. We protect, we survive, and we fight for those who cannot protect themselves." Their path led them to a stairway descending toward the throne chamber. But before they could reach it, a loud roar echoed through the atrium. A massive Xylar warrior, one of the Queen's former loyal guards turned rogue, stood blocking the staircase. His eyes glowed red and his 4 arms held energy blades ready. Elias froze for a moment, calculating the odds. This warrior was far stronger than any human, yet Elias did not step back. He raised his shield, positioning himself directly between the Queen and the attacker. "Stay behind me, Your Majesty," he shouted. The warrior lunged. Elias used every ounce of strength and training to block and parry the blows. Sparks flew as energy blades met the human shield, and every strike tested Elias' endurance. Yet he did not yield. With precise timing, he used the warrior's momentum against him, pushing him back enough to give the Queen room to move. They descended the stairs quickly, reaching the throne chamber. Loyal guards had gathered, forming a protective circle around the Queen. The rogue warrior was momentarily stalled outside, giving them a brief reprieve. Elias lowered his shield slightly, breathing heavily. Sweat dripped down his forehead, but he did not relax fully. The Queen was safe for now, but the battle was far from over. "You have done well, human," one of the loyal Xylar guards said, eyes wide with respect. Queen Lysera stepped forward, her gaze meeting Elias'. "You have proven something extraordinary today, not through power alone, but through courage, ingenuity, and unwavering dedication. Humanity is remarkable." Elias felt a quiet pride, knowing that his actions had earned respect, not only from humans or aliens, but from a being of immense wisdom and power. The throne chamber doors closed behind them, and for the first time since the attack began, Elias allowed himself a moment to breathe. They were safe for now. Yet he knew the rogue faction would not give up easily. He looked at the Queen. "We've survived this wave, but they will regroup. We need a plan for what comes next," Lysera nodded. "Then we will face it together." Elias Kane. "Your species has shown me strength I never expected. I will not forget it." Elias' eyes hardened with determination. Humanity had survived its first major test in the heart of an alien world, and he would ensure they survived every test to come. The palace of Xylar Prime was under siege, but in the throne chamber, a human stood firm, shielding the Queen, and proving to the galaxy that courage, intelligence, and moral strength could overcome even the most advanced enemies. The battle was not over, but hope had taken root. And hope, Elias knew, could change everything. The throne chamber was tense. Outside, the rogue Xylar faction regrouped, their weapons humming with deadly energy. Inside, Elias Kane stood ready, shield raised and mind racing through every possibility. Queen Lysera remained calm, surrounded by loyal Xylar guards, but even she could not hide the concern in her eyes. This was the moment that would decide the fate of not just the Queen, but the entire planet, and possibly humanity's place in the galaxy. Elias scanned the chamber, noting the positions of the loyal guards and the structural features they could use. He saw the palace's defense systems, energy turrets along the walls, automated barriers, and the central control panel that could manipulate the chamber itself. It was complex alien technology, far beyond what humans normally handled, but Elias' mind worked quickly, improvising strategies with what he had learned. "We have to hold them here," Elias said quietly to the Queen. "If we can survive until reinforcements arrive, we can push them back." Lysera nodded. "Do what you must. Humanity has proven itself capable. I trust your judgment." The doors to the chamber shook violently as the first attacker struck. Elias braced himself, raising his shield. Sparks flew as energy blades collided with the barrier, and the first Xylar soldiers tried to force their way inside. Elias pushed back, his human strength augmented by sheer willpower. He blocked the weapons, deflecting them toward the walls and the floor. Each strike was met with precision and determination. From the far corner of the chamber, Elias activated a small panel, triggering one of the palace's automated defenses. Energy barriers rose, forming temporary walls that slowed the attackers' advance. They hissed and shouted in frustration, unable to move forward quickly. "Now, Queen Lysera," Elias shouted. She activated a control panel of her own, sending signals to lock the external gates of the palace. The combination of human strategy and the Queen's authority created a temporary fortress, giving them a moment to breathe and plan the next move. But the attackers were not deterred for long. A massive Xylar warrior, one of their leaders, smashed through the remaining barriers. His 4 arms held energy blades, each swinging with deadly precision. Elias knew he could not face him directly for long. He needed a tactic, not just strength. He grabbed a fallen energy module, positioning it at the center of the chamber. With a quick burst from his own shield, he activated it, creating a temporary energy pulse. The pulse blinded and staggered the rogue leader, giving Elias just enough time to maneuver. Using his shield to block attacks, he dodged and parried, striking with calculated force at exposed joints. The rogue leader roared in frustration as Elias' human determination overcame his initial advantage. The Queen's loyal guards joined in, surrounding the rogue leader and forcing him back. With a coordinated push, Elias and the Xylar defenders managed to drive the attackers toward the chamber's exit. Each step was fought with grit and courage, and the humans' leadership inspired the alien guards to fight harder. Elias realized the attackers had underestimated humans. They assumed physical strength and advanced technology were the only measures of power. But humans had something they did not expect: creativity, adaptability, and moral courage. Elias used every trick, every improvised tactic to turn the tide. He grabbed a loose panel from the floor and rolled it across the chamber, creating a temporary barrier that forced the attackers to split into smaller groups. Then he directed energy beams from a control console toward the corridors, trapping 2 squads of rogue Xylar soldiers in a temporary force field. The attackers were frustrated, confused, and cornered, all because a single human had adapted faster than they anticipated. Queen Lysera watched with admiration. "Human ingenuity, it is remarkable. You do not give up, even when all seems lost." Elias glanced at her briefly. "We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves," he replied, "and we never underestimate the value of quick thinking." The battle continued, each moment tense. The rogue faction attempted to regroup and launch a final assault, but Elias anticipated their movements. He signaled the Queen to trigger another defense, one that used the palace's energy conduits to create an electrical surge across the main corridors. Sparks flew, and the attackers were forced to retreat temporarily, giving the defenders precious time. Despite the chaos, Elias never lowered his shield. He moved tirelessly, defending the Queen, coordinating with the loyal Xylar guards and improvising ways to block, trap, or confuse the attackers. Every move was calculated, every action deliberate. Humanity's reputation, fragile as it was, had just begun to shine. After a tense half-hour, the attackers began to falter. Their leader was injured, their squads confused and disorganized. They had underestimated the human resolve and the coordinated efforts of loyal Xylar forces. Elias seized the opportunity, pushing forward with a decisive strike. Using his shield and a combination of improvised devices, he drove the remaining attackers toward the exit corridors. The rogue faction, seeing their plan collapse, attempted a desperate final assault. Elias met them head-on, using his agility, shield, and quick thinking to deflect weapons and neutralize threats. One by one, the attackers fell back, until finally the palace was silent except for the hum of energy systems and the labored breathing of the defenders. Queen Lysera stepped forward, her gaze sweeping over the chamber. "It is done," she said softly, relief in her voice. "Thanks to you, Elias Kane, the palace and my life are safe." Elias lowered his shield, exhaustion threatening to overtake him. He had fought not just with strength but with every ounce of human ingenuity and courage he possessed. His arms ached, and his mind buzzed from the intense concentration, but he felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Humanity had faced an advanced alien threat and stood firm. "You have earned our respect," one of the loyal Xylar guards said, his voice filled with admiration. "A human has never done what you have today." Queen Lysera turned to Elias, her eyes bright with gratitude. "Your courage, your resourcefulness, your determination, it is unlike anything I have ever seen. Humanity is not just capable, it is extraordinary." Elias nodded, humbled by her words. "We fight when it matters, Your Majesty, and we never give up no matter the odds." The Queen smiled. "Then humanity shall have a place among the stars as my ally. Today, you have proven that your species is worthy of trust, respect, and friendship." A wave of relief and pride washed over Elias. This was not just a personal victory, it was a victory for all of humanity. The actions of one human had changed the course of an interstellar conflict, earned the respect of an advanced alien civilization, and forged a bond that could shape the future of the galaxy. The palace doors opened, and loyal forces moved to secure the corridors fully. The rogue faction had been defeated for now, scattered and demoralized. Elias and Queen Lysera surveyed the scene together, understanding that their survival had relied on courage, intelligence, and trust. "You stood firm when others fled," Lysera said, her voice soft but commanding. "You shielded me, not for glory, not for reward, but because it was the right thing to do. Humanity has shown the galaxy what it is capable of." Elias allowed himself a brief smile. "It is what we do. We protect, we endure, we rise to the challenge no matter how impossible it seems." The Queen reached out, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Then together we shall face what comes next. Humanity will not just survive in the galaxy. It will be respected, and it will make a difference." Elias looked out at the palace, the city of Xylar Prime stretching beneath the twin suns. He knew the rogue faction was only one of many threats humanity might face in the future. But he also knew this: humans were resilient. They were brave, they were resourceful, and when they stood firm, no force in the galaxy could easily break them. As night fell over Xylar Prime, Elias Kane stood beside Queen Lysera, a human shield in the truest sense. Around them, the loyal Xylar guards secured the palace, and the first steps toward a lasting alliance between humans and the Xylar civilization were taken. In that moment, Elias understood the true meaning of humanity's strength. It was not in weapons or numbers, but in courage, morality, and the ability to rise above fear. He had stood firm, and the galaxy had taken notice. The battle was over, but the journey was only beginning. Humanity had earned a place among the stars, and Elias Kane had proven that even in a universe filled with powerful alien civilizations, one human could make a difference. And as he looked at Queen Lysera and the city below, he knew that humanity's story was just beginning, strong, courageous, and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The stars beyond Xylar Prime shone brightly, a reminder that the universe was vast, dangerous, and full of opportunity. And humans, Elias realized, were ready to claim their place among them.